Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop and Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Bobby.
Okay, guys, we're back. Did you miss us? Because we missed you.
Rules?
There are no rules.
What rules?
This is a revolution, damn it!
You'll hear things you've never heard before.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Who are those guys?
And then there's the other guys.
We're the other guys. We're the guys nobody ever bets on.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
It's time for the Other Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts, Tim, Dave, and Jeremy.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And what can we tell you? We are 2/3 of the Other Alliance Guys, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance, United Wrestling Network, and various independents around the world. My name is Tim. I am absolutely not the Midnight Reader, and I am joined by Dave Scooby. Dave Scooby, the fantasy booker. You've heard of Eddie Graham? Garbage. You've heard of Bill Watts? Piece of crap. Vince Russo, get that shit out of here. This is Dave Scooby, our fantasy booker. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'll take the nod over Vince Russo. He had his time and place, but
yeah, that's fair.
I'm doing good. Just ready to see what people think of our Mount Rushmore of tag teams. And like we were talking before, it's one of those things of this is just our opinion. This is our personal tastes, our personal views. So if you don't like what you hear, I'm sorry. I'm going to apologize now. Everybody just has their own different tastes and their different likes and dislikes. And I really wouldn't say I have a dislike for many wrestling tag teams, but some of them just they don't catch my fancy. They're good at what they do. They're just not my cup of tea. And because I don't drink tea, I drink tequila.
Well, there you go.
So we'll just go and leave it at that.
The thing is too, like you can't pick four teams. Like we're going to, but you can't. It's a personal choice, you know. Sam Retro's here. Our buddy Lou Thez is here. And, you know, they're gonna have totally different picks than you and me.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I was saying to you before the show, if I were doing this for real, if they were going to sculpt the four teams I would put on the side of a mountain in South Dakota, at least two of the picks tonight that I'm going to make, my personal four, probably wouldn't be on that list. And it goes because if you go back to tag team wrestling right here, if you really go back to it and you're not including the Flying Kangaroos in this, maybe as your number one pick, then, you know, why are you wasting the resources on this mountain? But nobody knows who they are, not really, unless you're like to read about
the 50s and 60s. I remember hearing my grandpa talk about like the medics, and they were just all dressed in white, and they'd come out with and just beat the hell out of somebody, and they'd end up they'd be like, okay, they just beat them up, put them on a gurney, and carry them to the back. And I mean, it's just crazy.
It's true. And there's going to be other great teams like we also talked about, like, who would you want in your back in a fight? Like, listen, I'll take Terry Gordy and Dr. Death, you know, in their prime, past their prime, to back me up in any fight anywhere. But they weren't together as a tag team long enough, so they're not gonna be on this list. Was Jeremy too stoned to make it here? Not as far as we know. Jeremy was called to work. He hopes to be here shortly. Some picks flying out there right now. Willie Bowen going down south of the border. Willie had his Tyrus joke, classic Tyrus joke of the day, We should have a video opening for Willie's joke of the day. And now Willie Baldwin's Tyrus joke of the week. Number 200 is connected to Tyrus. It's how many times Tyrus spent the night at Popeye's Chicken. That number is 300. Devin Dowling, by a car relationship sounds. Car smells not working with his Tim Wood. Don't trust that guy. He'll take you for a ride, Double D. Willie takes the Road Warriors and Chronic. You're going to see one of those teams tonight. I want to wait a little bit for Jeremy to do it. So let's talk about the other stuff first, Scoob. Let's talk about the NWA debuting in just a few days on Roku. So
yes,
I'm not as connected to the technological world as perhaps I would like to be at the age of 54. And I read this week ago, and I went to two of my coworkers who are 10 to 15 years younger than me. I looked at Roku. And they said, well, one said, well, it's a platform streaming service. And another said, it's a kind of TV. And as I looked into it, it's both of those things, and that doesn't really encapsulate it completely. There's more to this. Tell me what a Roku is, Dave.
Well, from what I know, I mean, when you look at things, Roku is a service that you can get to use for streaming, for TV. It's just like back in the day when you had different types of ways to get onto the internet. You had your AOL, you had all your different, like you can do your DuckDuckGo, your search engines. All it is it's a service that you can use to watch TV, watch programming. I mean, I have it hooked up on my TV. I just go click on it. It's Google TV. It's one of these things that you can jump and just download YouTube.
Right.
And then you can have your favorites. You have all your different links that you can just click on. And it's just a different way of presenting ways to watch either television shows, movies, even your music. It has streaming services that are just music. So it's one of those things that however you look at it, Roku is just it's a service that is well known and well used within the United States and North America.
Yeah.
But it's one of those that if you like it, cool. If you don't like it, you can find something else to use. There's all these different ways that you can use, just like your VPNs. If you're unable to get something while you're up in Canada, you get a VPN, you trick them into thinking, oh, I'm in Detroit, or I'm in New York, or I'm in Michigan, or somewhere else in Michigan, or I'm in Montana, I'm in California. It's one of these things. It's a service that you can use just to get what you're wanting. And there's various ways of going about that, whether it's legal or illegal. I'm not going to say do it or don't.
We got Roku.
Yeah.
We didn't have, but I know I brought that up. We don't have access to the CW unless you're through a VPN. And, I told the NWA what I thought of that idea when they went over to CW. I made a video about it. Anyway, but they got, I looked up Roku because I'm smart enough to know when to get out of the way. And I thought, they're going to they're like Pluto TV. I'm smart enough to know when to get out of the way because I thought that the NWA was going to some other CWA style app or service that, if I'm asking what is it, how big can it be? Well, I'll tell you how big it is. In the fourth quarter of 2024, there were 89.8 million active accounts worldwide for Roku. And that went up from the first quarter in 2024 by 10 million. Wow. In 3 quarters. They were looking when this was put out, because this is the latest information I could find. They were closing in on 100 million. There are 30 billion hours of video content on it. Their account base is larger than the subscribers of the 6 largest traditional pay TV providers combined. And lastly, nearly 5 billion global OTT users in 2023, with expectations that the platform can reach 5 billion people.
Man.
So if Roku is able to help the NWA, because it feels now for me like a much bigger deal than CW did or anything else that they've done before. If it can help them reach that 1% of 1% of 1% of that audience, it's a win, I would think. But do you think that's something that's going to happen? How do you think they're going to do?
I don't know, because I like that they have a working relationship with Roku, but it's one of these things we don't know the behind the scenes. We don't know what Roku said. Oh, I'm not sure how ratings will go. If you can see, okay, we had 10,000 people over the week watch content featuring the NWA. I'm not sure what Roku has said or if they have a say in what is being presented.
Right.
Because, I mean, just as any TV show, the NWA Power is a TV show. It's, granted, telling stories. And if I were in charge, I'd put my best foot forward. Use the territories to highlight your territory wrestlers. And every once in a while, use them on Power.
Right.
Or highlight them on your YouTube channel. But if you're going full forward, if you're going full steam ahead on Roku, I'd have my biggest and best well-known wrestlers and have a show that grabs people, that people want to watch. That if you're, I mean, I'll be talking about it when I do my fantasy booking of starting off and doing your own talent or bringing in talent from the outside. It's one of those things that both are a win-win in my eyes, but doing your own talent, that's building from the bottom floor. Whereas if you bring in talent that's already established, people know who they are. They may have forgotten about them, but they'll do oh, hey, I remember that guy, Trevor Murdoch. He used to wrestle in WWF with that Lance Cade guy, and they weren't too bad. I think I'll check it out. Oh, he's wrestling with that Mike Knox guy now? Okay, cool. If it gives them a few more eyes on the product, that's a good thing. But it's one of these things of, I do your biggest and best wrestling performers, and every once in a while highlight some of your territory talent that has crept their way onto Power. I mean, Carson Drake, he's on Power now, and this is a chance for them to build him up.
Yep.
But in the meantime,
they're doing a pretty good job with him. Yeah.
In the meantime, still have him out and about on the territories, doing what needs to be done to help the lesser known product, your Exodus Pro, your Joe Kazana.
Yep.
Your
Dog Pound.
Your Dog Pound.
Yeah.
That if you recognize names, you may want to watch them when they're out doing the territory shows. But it's one of these things that On Roku, I'm not sure what standards and practices that Roku has for the NWA, but I'm just hoping it's one of these things of, Billy, when you look at this, would you go in and give a Smashing Pumpkins concert and do all your rarities and B-sides? Or would you go and play all the songs that were on the radio that everybody knows?
Play the hits. Play the hits.
Play the hits. Give them what people have heard or seen from you in the past. Let them relive it and enjoy it. And every once in a while, sneak in a new tune here and there. Sneak in a new wrestler here and there.
Yeah.
But you got to give them what's recognizable. And I'm hoping that's what they do.
What I worry about, not really. I don't lose any sleep over it because I haven't watched the NWA in so long. But I might go get a Roku stick and plug it into the TV now that they're off the CW. Is that the audience potential will be there, and people will tune in for an episode or two or three, and they'll just go, "My God!" Like, Tom Latimer's great, Trevor Murdoch's great. Maybe I like EC3 or whatever, but this booking is just god awful, and just because the wrestling fans are fickle.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but
I mean, a few of the people that I've talked to, they don't dislike the NWA. They like the NWA as a wrestling organization.
Right.
They like upwards of 50 to 75% of the wrestlers there. They just don't like the booking and the storylines.
Yeah.
That it's one of these things that if we're so far behind 2-3 months on seeing what's happening, this is almost one of those things that I'm thinking, okay, back in the day, WCW had their storylines, but then they also had Saturday nights, which just had wrestling. Sometimes it had a story, but if there were 4 or 5 matches, maybe 2 of them would have a storyline. The others were just wrestler A versus wrestler B, and wrestler A was the well-known wrestler. Wrestler B was the jobber guy. He's just getting a loss. The other guy's getting a win. So when he's on the main show, when he's on Nitro or when he's on Thunder, hey, this past week, so-and-so picked up a win over so-and-so. This week he's going for 2 in a row.
Right. It's
a story, but it's not a storyline.
We'll see what happens, right?
I mean, it's just, it's one of these things of I'll be talking about in my fantasy booking how it all comes together, that not everybody has to be a star.
Right. I look forward to that. We usually anchor the show with that. And I don't want to give too long. I don't want to make everybody wait if they're sticking around to try to win this book right now. But we'll do that in about 5 minutes right after we do this. Hopefully Jeremy can get back in time from work. But the NWA debuting on January 29th. That's in 8 days, folks, on Roku every Tuesday at 8 p.m. with Power. Looks like a significant step. Hopefully it'll be something, and hopefully the schedules will change or the booking will change or something along for it to make it work.
Since they're going to be on at 8 o'clock, does that mean that J. Cal's pre-party is going to be
we'll have to. We have a few things to change, don't we?
I haven't talked to Jay, and I don't know if he's changing times. I mean, I'm fine with it still being at the same time.
Yeah.
But I mean, that gives him 3 hours that he can discuss whatever, that he can expand the show or change the time or whatever. But I'm going to be one of those people that I have to be at my job at 9. So I have a 45-minute drive, so I won't be able to watch it live. I'll be able to catch it the next morning.
Right.
So we'll see. And I mean, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that they do the right thing. And I mean, I've seen people say they like the NWA wrestlers and they like them outside of the NWA. I mean, like, I love quite a few of the wrestlers in the NWA. I mean, like Wrecking Ball Legursky. I've seen him wrestle outside events.
Yeah.
He's done some Battleground Championship wrestling. He's done some stuff up in Philly.
He's done some dog over in New Jersey.
And he's totally a different wrestler than he is on NWA.
Right.
But it's one of those things that, come on, guys. If you want this to be a success, even as a quote-unquote part-time promotion, do your best. Put your best foot forward. And I mean, it's going to be a wait and see.
That's right. It is. And we're going to find out probably just after January 29th what everybody thinks.
Yeah.
I'm sure. We'll be on the air. What date is it? 29th. That'll be what day is it today? It's a Monday. That'll be a Tuesday. So we're gonna miss the first one by one day. But speaking of TV, TNA is looking for a new deal. You were telling me, Scoop.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah.
I had heard Sylvia, I guess he's like their president.
Carlos Silva, president of Anthem. Yeah.
Anthem, and I guess it's one of these things of right now. I mean, like we were talking about, like the VPNs and the Roku sticks and all that. My setup, I have it so I can actually watch, and I record TNA wrestling, and then watch it back the next morning. So I have access to Access TV, but it's not available to everyone. And usually it's a pay service, or you do the TNA Plus through YouTube. But it's one of these things that if they can get a deal to do live TV, I'm looking at TNA slowly being absorbed by TKO, which owns the WWE and UFC. And if it's all under one umbrella, TNA and NXT are they're doing battle back and forth. There's the TNA champion is a NXT talent.
Yep.
The women's champion is a NXT talent. She holds both women's belts now, JC Jane. So it's one of these things of they're partners and they're using mutual people back and forth. But if TNA, right now they're taped and they do monthly tapings. So they go 4 weeks, but with their live involvement with NXT, that if they're able to get a new deal and go live, it's a win-win for everybody. And TNA would be a way for your NXT talent and your TNA talent to get twice the work. That if they shuffle the deck and go from 52 cards to 104 cards, it's 2 decks. You're getting twice the amount. Plus, you're also getting twice the amount of programming. That each of them, it's going from 2 hours of NXT to 2 hours of NXT plus 2 hours of TNA. So they're able to float back and forth. And if it being live, it can be, they don't have to plan out their storylines 4 to 6 weeks in advance. If something works, it works. If it doesn't work, they can change it the next week. They don't have to live out or cut out that part and insert something else. So I'm hoping that TNA is able to get a deal. Anthem, has has an ability to move their product so more people get eyes on it. And Access TV, while I'm able to get it, Tim, you may be able to get it if you want. But it's one of these things that the more something is available to the mainstream, the more appeal it has.
It's true.
So it's one of those things that if you look back on it, that I mean, TNA has been everywhere. They've been on TNN TV. They've been on Destination America. All these different places that they've been, and they've never been able to really clinch a home base. And now I'm hoping that if they can secure a deal with the backing of TNA or TKO and the WWE, it would be a stepping stone that if you're looking at it as like WWE is the majors, TNA and NXT may be AA or AAA baseball, but if they can float back and forth, it's a win-win for everybody. That if you have people in TNA that aren't quite up to par, if they're with the WWE and part of NXT, who knows, maybe they can combine their training and have a training both in Canada and down in Florida. Plus all these people that are working can possibly get other work with maybe, I don't know, Maple Leaf.
Yeah.
Or other promotions that are quote unquote friendly. I mean, WWE has evolved now.
Right.
There's several different places that you have your single A, triple A, double A, whatever you want to consider them, that if somebody's working and they need more work, send them elsewhere. It's almost a territorial system, if you look at it.
It is.
A win is a win, at least in my eyes.
If I were WWE, Steve, good to see you, my friend, I would also try to monopolize wrestling. You can see, like, just a week ago, they were screwing around with timing around the AEW premium live event or pay-per-view or whatever it is they have, and the other way around. So, you know, hey, that's the market for you, I guess. That's what it is. Yeah, they're looking for a 52-week deal. They want, according to Silva on the Ariel Helwani show a few days ago, about $10 million to do it. And I don't know what that means in the television world. Doesn't sound like a lot. Sounds like enough. But the way that TNA has been presented, despite, you know, it's been very much a WWE here, TNA here relationship all the way, or even NXT, TNA are, you know, still seems like a little bit above. It has vastly improved TNA's product. And it feels like the production of that product, the booking of that product, you know, is much better. And I think the relationship really, really helps them. And I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, part of the reason that they get a TV deal, just thinking about this, is because WWE helps them get one in order to choke out AEW from the market.
Yeah.
And like saturate it even more with a WWE friendly competitor who is of no threat of becoming, you know, WWE in the next 10, 20 years probably. But who can be allowed to coexist?
I mean, depending on where they're wanting to have TNA, if TNA is willing to work with the WWE, I wouldn't have a problem. I mean, if they could get a CW deal bundled with NXT, so it's back to back. That maybe TNA is shown on a different day, and that's 2 hours programming on a different day. That if they can have it bounce back and forth, that it's a NXT, TNA, CW universe. That all this takes place. I mean, if you look back on CW, they've done the DC universe. They've done the superheroes. Why not do a wrestling universe? If they can get TNA on CW, some TV is better than none. It's one of these things that you can go online on your phone, on a computer, even go download the CW app, depending on your location, and watch programming. So if it's one of these things that they get bundled with NXT into CW, that's a win-win-win for everybody. If it's somewhere else, it's a win for TNA because hopefully more people will be able to get their eyes on the product.
I'm going to put up with Steve G's got here, but in reality, it's TNA's fault. Of all promotions, TNA, Impact. By the way, Impact's a better name. You should have just, anyway. Should have known better. AEW done the same thing to TNA. Bottom line, any promotion allowing their main championships going to a different promotion is dumb. Fundamentally, I would agree if those two promotions were at least in the same stratosphere as each other. But they're not. And TNA's smart, I think, my opinion only, they're smart for allowing Joe Hendry to get jobbed out to Randy Orton at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like that, I realize that's their champ, that's their title. But the people watching that stuff are so smart to the business. They know who Joe Hendry is. I'm almost waiting for him to appear right now. But you know, and it gives them so much more exposure that they wouldn't normally have. There's that old saying, right, that any exposure is good exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see what happens there. I think that's interesting. Maybe we'll talk about that more as in the days ahead. The Midnight Reader book giveaway in advance of his debut, presumably on next week's show. It's been a busy week for the Midnight Reader, a masked man and enthusiast of pro wrestling books are giving away in conjunction with our Mount Rushmore of tag teams. This, you guys in the chat right now when you're about to answer a trivia question. So get your Google machine ready. You can't win, Dave.
Okay.
I see you sitting up there.
No, I'm like,
I'm going to get an answer. This is a great book, or so I'm told, by the Midnight Reader. It is written by Greg Oliver and Stephen Johnson. Greg Oliver, you probably know who Greg Oliver is. He's a Canadian guy. He writes. There's a lot of these things to go, but he writes incredibly well. He's Slam Wrestling, if you know Slam Wrestling online. So,
okay.
Awesome author, top 5, I think, out there. This is a book you're going to enjoy. So, in conjunction with the tag team theme, and I know Dave's going to pick one of these teams, spoiler alert, first person who can tell me 5 Dudley Boys, I will accept the main 2, 5 Dudley Boys into the chat right now. We'll send this out to you. There's more than 2? There's more than 3? Yes, there are. Oh, let's see. Here we go. No. Is Jeremy practicing for a 24-hour marathon? I can't get Jay to do the 24-hour. It's not Jay's fault. Jay got in trouble for doing like 4 hours. And it's on pause right now. Like, we could do it. The logistics are doable, but we need people to sign on for that one. We got a couple of. You need 5. Put 5 in your answers. Dudley. Spike Dudley. Yeah. 5, 5, 5, 5. I'm going to leave it there right now. We'll come back to it and we'll see what happens. We've waited long enough for our friend Championship Wrestling from Germany, who we hope's back and can give us some very important UWN results. Because there has been a #and-new champion going on in the UWN. But we hope that he's able to get by in time. I don't know about that answer. I'm gonna come back to it. It's gonna be the first one to do 5 correct ones, but I'll come back to it. Dave, we have looked at, you and me and Jeremy in absentia, the what we would put on our Mount Rushmore of tag teams. You have the honor of going first. 4 greatest tag teams in pro wrestling for you. Who are they?
Well, this is just my opinion. Don't hate me if you don't like them. But how could you not like the Road Warriors, a.k.a. the Legion of Doom in the WWF, WWE? Now, they're widely considered one of the greatest tag teams in professional wrestling. I mean, just their image. I mean, look at that. The face paint, the spiked shoulder pads, and just, their intimidating presence. I mean, they'd almost make me crap my pants if I was just like a little kid seeing them come out.
Yeah.
And you look at them and then go, okay, well, they're big and all, but what's so great about them? Well, imitation is the best. Imitation. You have all these different wrestling organizations that had wrestlers that, quote unquote, were there. There are Legion of Doom. There are Road Warriors, Demolition. You had Chronic. You had just, it's the Eliminators. You had big, muscly guys, some wearing makeup, others just doing their thing. It was just, you look at the Road Warriors and teams similar to them with the makeup and just the way people would dress. They're instantly recognizable. Their powerful and aggressive nature, their hard-hitting style. You're not going to see technical wrestling. It's a ground and pound. It's one of these things. It was just hard-hitting. To me, this is beer-drinking wrestling.
Right.
That it resonated with your beer-drinking fans, your factory workers. It helped them stand out in an era of more traditional tag teams. They were incredibly successful. They won championships almost everywhere they went. The AWA, NWA, WWE as the Legion of Doom. And it's one of these things of, even over in Japan.
Yep.
Later they would break up, but you'd have your power warriors. And it's one of those things that their entrance alone, hearing Iron Man and their matches generated a deafening crowd response, and that's known as the Road Warrior Pop. And
what a rush.
What a rush. If you could get that, that was just their drawing power and their popularity right there. So, if you know what a Road Warrior Pop is, it's one of those things that it's deafening. Secondly, it's my team, one of my personal favorites, the Briscoes. And this is Jay and Mark Briscoe, the Briscoe brothers from ROH. Now, their career in ROH ran almost 20 years, with the exception of maybe a year and a half of them not being in ROH. But they're widely considered one of the greatest tag teams in ROH in the company's wrestling history. They had 13 reigns as ROH World Tag Team Champions. And I mean, they were dominant. If you went against them and won, you knew you were doing something right. They also held the IWGP Tag Champions in New Japan and the Impact Tag Team titles in TNA. And they were winners of the 2022 NWA Crockett Cup. And like I said, one of my personal favorites, and the reason I started watching ROH back in the early 2000s, having to stay up till, well, usually I'd set my VCR, and this was back in the day of taping them on cable late night, that they were on at maybe 2 or 3 in the morning. So after coming back from working at the bar and doing a little drinking, I'd partake in a little herbage and maybe a little libations and just sit back and watch some ROH and keeping my fingers crossed that the Briscoes were either highlighted, had a match, or at least I saw some good rough and tumble wrestling.
Yep. Great pick.
Now, this third one, you said it took you by surprise when you saw it. And I wrote down Bradshaw and Farouk, the APA. Now, the Acolyte Protection Agency. They started out as the Acolytes with the Ministry of Darkness under The Undertaker, but they moved on to be Guns for Hire. That they were a protection agency that for whatever amount of money you were willing to pay them, they would protect you or do you favors. And in doing so, they became a well-regarded tag team in the WWF, WWE in the late 90s and early 2000s. They were legitimately tough guys, and it wasn't just a persona. So it's one of these things of they were constantly a dominant force in the tag team champion, or in the tag team division, holding the championship 3 times. And their beer-guzzling tough guy gimmick resonated with the fans, and their backstage segments were just, in my opinion, comedic gold.
Hilarious.
They had barroom brawls, and despite always not being at the very top of the card, the fans loved them, and they were constantly over with the crowd. So last but not least, you had said you wanted 5 of the Dudleys. Well, I got 2 of them. The Dudley Boys, also known as Team 3D in TNA. You're talking about Bubba Ray, a.k.a. Bully, and Devon. Now, they're a dominant force in ECW before achieving even greater fame and success in the WWF and WWE, then later on in TNA as Team 3D. They have a wrestling school, the Team 3 Wrestling Academy. They're considered by many to be the most decorated tag team in wrestling history, holding an impressive 23 World Tag Team Championships across many organizations, including the WWF, WWE, ECW, WCW, NWA, TNA, and IWGP Tag Team Champions. And if you watched Slammiversary or followed it this past weekend, you know Bully showed up. That the Hardys won. They're the new TNA Tag Team Champions. And Bully showed up. He and Devon are going to have one last run in TNA. They're having a match at Bound for Glory for the tag titles versus the Hardys.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to see that, but, you know.
I don't know. I mean, if they can, I mean, there's ways that it can be done. It doesn't have to be a 20, 25-minute match. It can be a short 12 to 15-minute match. Do their highlights, get their spots in. But, I mean, the Dudley Boys, if they're still able to go, I mean, they popularized, the use of tables in wrestling matches and the iconic TLC matches alongside the Hardys and Edge and Christian.
Right.
So it's one of these things of these matches are considered some of the most thrilling and impactful tag team encounters in wrestling history. So it's one of these things of one last time, if they can do maybe a TLC match there. I'm not sure what they'll end up calling it, but give me 10, 12, maybe 15 minutes with a good show.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Dudley Boys, they have their persona that they followed. And I mean, their aggressive style, I mean, their promos were intense. And of course, putting their opponents through the tables. So it's one of these things that helped define the tag team division during their era as wrestlers. Now, they've been described as a machine that could lose every single match, but never lose an ounce of their heat. So it's one of those things of whether they win or lose, to me, it doesn't matter. It's just helping the TNA tag team titles to move up the ladder. And I don't know, I may even watch Bound for Glory to see this match. But it's one of these things that you look at it. I mean, the Dudley Boys, they were inducted in the TNA Hall of Fame in 2014, WWE Hall of Fame in 2018. And I mean, in my opinion, they're one of the greatest tag teams, whether you like what they do or not. They're the measuring stick in my eyes.
Great picks. Cannot dispute any of them. There's so many different, like we're gonna have people going like, why didn't you pick, insert name here? How could you live with yourself while not having this team on the mountain? I thought those are great picks. For me, the Road Warriors were number one. When I was we don't have to go into it again, but when I was a kid, I had wrestling posters on my wall. The first ones I ever put up, I think even before the Horsemen, were the Road Warriors with Paul Ellering up on the wall, and hands down the most dominant team in they would be my number one pick up right on the mountain in order. Number two for me, independently of each other, I was really, really glad that you had the Dudleys, and if Jeremy were here, he'd tell you that he had the Hardys, and that match that's happening. And I picked these guys.
Cool.
Edge and Christian, not just because they're Canadian and from my home province of Ontario. They grew up just north of Toronto, and they trained under Ron Hutchison, and so there's that hometown favoritism there. But these are guys who both went on to, even after tag team wrestling, to singles greatness, and Edge becoming a WWE champion, and Christian was an NWA world champion. But match of the year 2000s with the Dudleys and the Hardys, and 2001 from PWI with that triangle table ladders and chairs match that they had. They are 7-time WWE World Tag Team Champions, and with the Hardys and with the Dudleys, I thought completely defined that era of tag team wrestling. I had that ladder poster with Edge and Christian, the Hardys, on a hanging in my childhood room. Yeah, Christian was a TNA champ like 3 years ago too. Yeah, it was a big deal when he became that for a short period of time. It was like for like a week or two, all eyes were right there on when that meant something. And they're funny, and they could go, and they're still out there and doing their thing at my age and doing it good as well. Here's Willie's picks: Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody, Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher, the Road Warriors, Rock and Roll Express, and America's Most Wanted. I'm not picking America's Most Wanted, but how could you not? They're one of those picks, right? I think they're either tied with the Rock and Roll Express or one behind for the most NWA World Tag Team titles. It's like 13 or something ridiculous like that. Just great teams. Willie likes his tough guys for sure there. So it's Road Warriors, Edge and Christian. My favorite tag team of all time in terms of watching and in either incarnation of this team. No surprise to anybody because I like tag team wrestling better than I do single wrestling. It's the Midnight Express. Yes. Jim Cornette is the ideal manager. He was Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan, I think, was certainly one of his two main idols. The impact that what Condrey and Eaton could bring to the ring in terms of just being a pair of amazing hands, and the feuds that they had with the Rock and Rolls over the years, and just the gimmick about how Jim had bought them with Mom's money, Mama Cornette's money, and he was such an amazing mouthpiece. And they didn't have to say anything. They rarely spoke. And they did all of the talking for Cornette's wishes in the ring. And the other set when Condrey just went home one day and retired, nothing personal, didn't say anything. They didn't know what happened to him. They picked up Stan Lane. And Stan Lane, you can see them there with the World and U.S. Tag Team titles. Stan Lane was my favorite version of this, even though, he might have been a half step behind Dennis Condrey in terms of what he could bring to the ring. They were still phenomenal and just so much fun. I loved them to death. I don't see how you can have a Mount Rushmore without a team. Of course you can, but I'm just saying. And I'm going to get to all these awesome comments. I'll get my last one out of the way right now. With apologies to, how can these guys even be honorable mentions? Honorable mentions in the Rock and Roll Express. I know. I know. Don't, as my kids would say, don't at me. It's not yeah, they should be on there. They're not. With apologies to Tully and Arn, who, in my defense, would tell you that they thought themselves as two singles wrestlers more than they put together, more than they did as a tag team in the Horsemen or as the Brainbusters in WWF. If I didn't love the Midnight Express above all other tag teams, it would be Tully and Arn. But they weren't together long enough, I didn't think, to make the list. Or at least, even if they were, they couldn't beat the team that I'd pick. Even the Hart Foundation, which is not, I don't think in this book, I don't think they're in the top 20. I don't believe that they're recognized in the top 20. Greg Oliver, Steve Johnson, by the way, picked the Fabulous Kangaroos as the greatest tag team of all time, with Road Warriors number 2. But for me, it was a team that I grew up watching, who made their impact originally in Japan and redefined things over there. And that was the British Bulldogs, Dynamite Kid and Davey Boy Smith. And you see them there with Matilda in the WWF at the time. They were a tag team that existed in a way that I had never seen a tag team exist before. Dynamite could do stuff that no other wrestler you could see could do. And you know the reason that he was, I assume everybody knows the whole Dynamite story. If you don't have his book, by the way, go get his book. Pure Dynamite, oh my God. It is so visceral and raw. It's not very long. It's just a little thing. Go and find it. It is so worth the read. It was one of the best books. I don't know what happened to it. But they were doing things that no other tag team was doing. Dynamite was a powerhouse, but he put that weight on in the WWF because Vince wanted bigger wrestlers. And he could do so many things in an aerial capacity. He was so agile. And obviously, Davy Boy, later just the British Bulldog, which just always bothered me somehow that, you're the only one now. That he was the powerhouse, and they had a formula like many tag teams do, with Davy Boy getting the hot tag and everything unloading from there. I thought they were phenomenal as a kid, and still, it's a shame what happened. Dynamite's no longer with us. He ended up in a wheelchair and passed several years ago. Davy Boy's no longer with us. And you can read the Martha Hart book around that one if you want the stories there. But those would be my four. Jeremy's not here. Jeremy picked in his absence. Jeremy picked Steiner Brothers.
Nice.
Great pick. I got stuff for everybody here. Where are the Steiners? I don't know. We all know what the Steiners look like. He also picked the Moondogs, which it made me blank. I was like, you're picking Spot and Rex? He didn't feel that they got enough love for what they accomplished, how tough they were. Respect the pick. The Hardy Boys, and only because we honor Jeremy when he's not here. Cover your ears. Beef candy. Jeremy loves beef candy in a way that can only be explained by Jeremy, and we'll let him do that next time he's here. Here, Devin Dowler, since he's not here, Jeremy picked Spirit Squad, the Bushwhackers, the Dicks, and the Heartthrobs.
Wow.
Hilarious.
Not Billy and Chuck?
No, not Billy and Chuck. Well, I guess they were honorable mentions. What would Lou Thez do? Steiners, of course. Road Warriors, certainly. Midnight Express, Condrey and Eden, and then the Briscoe brothers. By the way, I haven't checked officially, but I believe that this was won by Big Chris Dog tonight in my look at the chat. So if that's the case, I'll firm up with you later, Chris. Steiner Brothers for Willie. Okay, I should have mentioned the New Age Outlaws because they won so many titles in the WWF, WWE. There is this moment in my brain that one of the few from when I was a kid where Billy and Road Dogg came out, and for the first time I'd ever heard it, they gave us the, oh, you didn't know? And went into that whole, you're asked me to call somebody. And I turned to my friend, Dave McReynolds, and I said, these guys are going to be huge. And they were. They were a great tag team of two guys they didn't know what to do with. Shoved them in DX, and they were amazing. So great pick, Double D. New Day, loved the talent.
Yeah.
Don't love the gimmick. The Outsiders, I mean, how can you go wrong, right? I'll come back to your comments, Steve, about other stuff in a couple of minutes. Ricky Steamboat, Jay Youngblood. I mean, Willie's going back into the vault here. There were some more up here at the Arn and Tully. Steiners, Dudleys, Midnight Express, Road Warriors, and the Young Bucks. If you're a fan of Cornette and you follow that stuff, I think you're probably going to rail against the Young Bucks, but there is no denying that, despite their size, and maybe you don't like the what's Cornette call it, the flippy dippy stuff or whatever, then they have made an impact. Maybe it hasn't held right now, but they have made an impact in the tag team wrestling, and there's a lot to be said for that. And a couple people have said the young Bucks today. It's interesting that no one has said FTR, though, isn't it? I'll leave that out there. I love FTR. They were great. They're nowhere right now. They're pre-show, I think, from All In. The Young Bucks get no love. They have to keep tag team wrestling over the past few years. Usos and New Day too. Jimmy and Jay are a good team. Give me Jimmy over Jay. That's all I can say. I love the Bucks and the Usos, Chris. They're not in my top 4. Steiner Brothers won the NWA US Tag and World Tag Team Championship. All time is a long time. Yes, it is. Do you like Jay alone more? I don't care for Jay Uso as a singles wrestler, but that's just me. FTR about to feud with Edge and Christian. Okay. Well, that's our Mount Rushmore. I'm glad we got some traction in the chat with this one. That was a lot of fun. Nobody's wrong. Nobody's right. Except for me, I'm right. The rest of you are wrong. No. It's just impossible to pick 4 teams. We don't have a Jeremy tonight, and we've done the book thing. Kenta Kobayashi and Misawa. International flavor. Willie Bowen is a veteran, and you can correct me, Willie, but I believe that you went to Budokan Hall and saw Ric Flair wrestle there. So Willie has had some contact directly with the great nation of Japan and seen some of that action firsthand. Young Bucks good at New Japan, however, mailed it in. Oh, you're going to set Chris off now. I'm going to move past that one. We're going to go instead to some fantasy booking in a segment we call I Respect You, Booker Man. So, Dave, tonight you're talking about the NWA. Is it better for the NWA to develop their own talent or to use former talent from WWE, TNA, AEW? What do you got for us?
Well, it's somewhat fantasy booking, but it's just the way I look at it is I'm not booking something specific. It's overall general thoughts and the advantages of developing their own talent. I mean, you can train and develop somebody. It's just like when you hire somebody that has no experience at a job. You can show them the correct way of doing things or the way that at your job, if it's at McDonald's, this is the way fries are made. This is the way we do hamburgers. This is the way we do our breakfast biscuits. It's a specific, distinct way of showing somebody how something's done. And that's going from the ground up. But it's one of these things that it's more budget friendly if you're starting off and they know nothing. That if you hire somebody and they've worked somewhere else, let's say they've worked at Burger King and you hire them at McDonald's. Well, at Burger King, we did it this way. Okay, we have to retrain you. So it's one of these things that it's almost more budget friendly than signing established names or somebody that has worked elsewhere. If you train them in the vein of this is the way we do it, if you can follow our rules and regulations, that's cool. If not, it's been nice knowing you. Step to the side. It's one of those, it allows the NWA, they can mold wrestlers to fit their unique wrestling style and character expectations. Now, having a developmental program ensures a consistent pipeline of new talent for the future. And I look at it, this is what the territory is used for. You send out your established wrestlers to defend belts out in the territories and also be a quote-unquote unofficial scout or an official scout if you're Blind Idol for talent. That you send them out there having a strong, consistent pipeline of new talent that if you see somebody start from the ground floor and move their way up the ladder, you appreciate them more than somebody that was brought in that may have experience elsewhere. But I mean, it's one of these things like in AEW. You look at somebody starting off in AEW and moving their way up the ladder and then bringing in Paige to the AEW. Yeah, people may know who she is, but she didn't get a really warm welcome. That people are more likely to go for the homegrown talent because they feel a better connection. And almost always when you move from one promotion to another, there's things that you can and cannot do. You either change your name, you have to change your move set, you have to change something about you. I like the man Adam Copeland as a wrestler. I like him wrestling as Edge better than just wrestling as Cope. But there's certain things that you have to give up if you move from one place to another. And it's one of those things that if you look at it, those are some of the advantages, the disadvantages of developing your own talent. It's an investment of time, money, and expertise. Now, promising developmental talent might be lured away to larger promotions. Developmental talent might take time to gain recognition and to draw a crowd, and that may not be ideal all the time. You're looking for short-term success. Now, if you look at things, let's go sign some established talent. The advantages of having established wrestlers can instantly attract viewers and boost your ratings due to their existing fan base and their reputation. Veteran wrestlers can provide valuable guidance to the younger talent, helping them improve their skills. And one of the things I noticed while he was in the main events a while back, EC3 is now part of a tag team with PB Smooth.
Yeah.
Use your established wrestlers to help your younger talent succeed. So it's either they're going to succeed as a tag team or down the line, one goes one way, one goes the other, and there's a breakup, and hopefully the new guy goes over because the overman doesn't need to be over because he's already over, man, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that signing talent from different backgrounds and different promotions can introduce new styles and perspectives to the product. But then you look at, okay, if we bring in some of these established talents, some of the disadvantages would be that these talents often come with a higher price tag. And this may not be sustainable for these smaller promotions. But veteran wrestlers may also be set in their ways and resistant to adapting to a style or booking plans of this new promotion that they're joining. Now, older wrestlers may be more prone to injuries as well, which could disrupt storylines and cost the promotion money down the line. Now, this is just in my opinion. For the NWA to thrive, you have to have a balanced approach, combining talent development with strategic signing of established stars. Now, this allows you to nurture future stars while also leveraging the drawing power and experience and expertise of established names. I'd say have a mixture of both. And like I said about EC3, he's no longer in the title picture, but he's a mentor now for PB Smooth. So use veterans to help develop the new guys on the roster. Use these guys to get more name recognition for your promotion. That people may want to check out these wrestlers. I mean, I had almost forgotten about Trevor Murdoch till I saw him at the first tapings.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh shit, I remember him. He had some good times then, but I remember him back when he was in WLW wrestling with Harley, and he was Trevor Rhodes.
Right.
So it's one of those things of, if you get these people that have experience in the quote unquote big time, that people may want to check out the wrestlers that they once liked that moved on from quote unquote the big time and then are now at smaller shows. Some of these wrestlers they seem lost in the shuffle. Now, if you've watched Paul Burchill wrestle, tremendous wrestler.
Yeah.
But if you Google Burchill, what comes up? He's a talented wrestler, but his old persona of a wrestling pirate with his sister, who is quote unquote his lover at one time. I mean, he's a talented wrestler, but his old persona, that does him no favors in the NWA. If you would have brought him in, I would have brought him in as a Scion type character, or even change his name completely. Don't have a reference to him being Paul Burchill, or anything. He's valuable as a wrestler, but not just a serious wrestler, because all you can do is look back and go, oh shit, he was that wrestling pirate. Same thing with, like, you look back and go, I don't know if you remember Rico Constantino.
Oh, yeah.
Great wrestler. Shitty gimmick.
Yeah.
He had the sideburns, he had all that. The guy can go. I mean, he was a former police officer in Vegas. The guy had something, but because he wrestled in the quote-unquote big time, he hit the WWE, WWF. And sometimes you just fall into a category.
That's right.
That, same thing with, who would have thought that Cody Rhodes would be where he is now when you look back and go, oh, wow, he was Stardust? Same
Right.
thing. Dustin Rhodes, he just recently won a title in AEW, the TNT title. He hasn't had a title since 1999, the Intercontinental title when he was Goldust. So you're talking over 25 years. The man can wrestle. He's just doing things now of his own accord. And it's one of these things that I think having a mixture is good, but you have to do it the right way.
Right.
You have to, you can't just throw it out there and see if it works. If it's live and it doesn't work, you can make an immediate change. If it's taped and it was taped 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 1 month ago, you have to deal with it or cut it out of your programming and make adjustments on the fly, which you can't do if it's taped as much. So it's one of those things that I think if you do a mixture of both, but you have to have the right people in the right places.
Yes.
And EC3, have him work with his talent at Exodus Pro. He's working with PB Smooth. That's cool. Bring up a couple other guys and have EC3 involved in their storyline, that if you're going to have somebody come up from Exodus Pro, that EC3 goes up and welcomes them, and he either takes them under his wing, or maybe it's one of those things of he turns on EC3. You were trying to hold me down back in Exodus Pro. Now I'm back in the big time. I'm friends with Brian Idol. Screw you. Instant story. You're using established stars that may be out on the territories, and they have an interaction with somebody that comes up and steps up to the NWA and then is on Power. They have an interaction. If it works, cool. If not, take that down to the territory and use that interaction on the territories till you flush things out and work out a storyline that can be highlighted or shown on Power. And this is what I would use NWA USA for. Have that as a highlight show of your territories, highlighting your NWA talent out on the territories. And that's how you have the best of both worlds right there, that they have involvement with the Power wrestlers. But it's one of those things that, I mean, it's you got to give it a try, give it a shot. If it works, it works. But in my opinion, if you don't try it, you never know it, that it won't work or that it will work.
You got to try something.
Better than nothing.
That's right. Thank you. That was great as always. Nothing to disagree with there. I'm just doing some quick math, believe it or not. Because, as I said, I think Big Chris Dog won the Greg Oliver, Steve Johnson Tag Teams, Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame Tag Teams book. Next week on the show, the Midnight Reader himself will be here. And he comes only at midnight. He's the Midnight Reader. So he'll be here with a pre-taped giveaway for the next book, which was going to be this week. But then when I realized, we'll do tag teams, I'll give away a tag team book. We'll go back to the one last week, Adventures in Larryland. I've read this book. This is Larry Zbyszko's biography. It is a great read. It is so much fun. It's just kind of full of the sarcasm and sass that you would expect from Larry Zbyszko. Great stories about how the Western States heritage title, which was finally crowned in the UWF in 1987. Actually, I think it was today's the 21st, so it would have been yesterday. But that would have been 28 years ago yesterday. The tournament ended. Barry Windham won that title to become the inaugural champion. And then Larry Zbyszko basically defended in Uniondale, New York. And that was the end of that title by December 1988. Beautiful title. I had one in the early days of this show. I think I gave it away to somebody in a giveaway. But it'll be Adventures in Larryland for next week, and trivia question from the Midnight Reader himself.
Well, and I mean next week. I mean, since Jeremy's not here, I mean we can continue this. I mean, maybe next week. I mean, we can give like our honorable mentions or surprise. Maybe go back and go, okay, you may not know of these teams from the 50s and 60s or even the 70s, but here's some early teams that started the tag team wrestling revolution. Yeah. And I mean, we can always discuss because I mean, this is just our personal opinions. And I mean, even the higher ups and I mean, those at the wrestling magazines and the wrestling, I mean, it's one of those things that there's wrestling teams that are great, but they're only together for one or two events. That, I mean, you look at, I mean, like seeing Dusty Rhodes, him and Nikita, when they got together, that was a great team, but it's, I mean, the superpowers and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But we lasted a while. And I mean, we can continue this conversation next week if you'd like, and Jeremy can give his. But it's, I mean, there's tons of honorable mentions, and I'd like to get as much as, I mean, I'm 56 years old, and I go back to the mid-'70s for wrestling. But I'd like to do some research and look at some of the wrestlers that did the tag teaming back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the 50s and 60s. I mean, like I had mentioned, like the medics, they were masked wrestlers that came in, beat the hell out of you, put you on a gurney, and took you out.
Yeah, the interns, the assassins. By the way, I have we'll get to that book. I got enough book that we could do this 2 more years if we're still on the air. so it's good. Willie said Dusty has a bio book. I don't have it. I wonder if it's a WWE book or WWF book. If it is, I don't own any WWF books. It's not a personal thing. It's just I guess it is a personal thing, but they're full of crap for the most part. I liked Mankind's. That got me on this journey originally of collecting books, but beyond that, Ric Flair's was just it's just full of nonsense. I do like the non-biographical stuff better. Yes, they were a tag team. A very famous feud that came out of that tag team when they fell apart as well. Ric Flair and Blackjack Mulligan. Dave, I think that's going to do it.
All right.
Let's pull up that banner as to where. That's not it. Here you go. No, that's yours. Socials.
You can hit me up on Instagram, X, and Blue Sky every once in a while at Dave Scooby, and just let me know if there's anything you want to talk about, and hopefully down the line we will do some fantasy booking about your suggestion.
Yeah. You can get Jeremy on Facebook at Jeremy. Well, not at, but he's under Jeremy Miller. You'll recognize his smiling mug, I'm sure, on there. He's sometimes on Blue Sky at Alliance Jeremy. Me, nope. And then the Midnight Reader has an account that was started. I might just allow him to hack into mine and use the Alliance Gold one that I don't use anymore. We'll see. So ignore that part from now. But please follow Alliance Wrestling at the Alliance blog on all of the social media platforms. If you're looking for those platforms, look down on YouTube at the doobly-doo. They're all listed there, from YouTube to Kick. We're on Kick right now. We're on Twitch. All the other ones that I can never remember. We're on Poob. I don't know why that's funny. It just is. J. Cal, we should have asked him when he was here, unless he's still here. I don't know if he's going to still be doing the pre-party on Thursdays at 8 when the show starts at 8 o'clock for Power on Roku on Thursday. Is it no, Tuesdays?
Tuesdays.
Yeah, he may change that. We'll let him make that announcement, and we'll make the change here. Currently, it's Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for the Alliance Guys podcast. And then he's doing Tuesdays at 5 for the pre-party. That's what I should be talking about. Sorry. 2 p.m. Pacific. It's the hour before Power with the man himself. Thank you for being here tonight. Very spirited. I might have MySpace. You don't know me. You know who's going to have MySpace after this? The Midnight Reader. That's all he'll have is MySpace. I think that's... Is MySpace still a thing? Does it exist?
No idea.
My God. Who had a MySpace account? Raise your hand. I didn't have one.
I did.
Did you?
Yep.
But you and I are a million years old, though, and Lou's not far behind us. So while I'm thinking of it, because it's right here, please follow our friends at Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, won't you? There is some serious talent, as Dave mentioned earlier. They got Wrecking Ball Ligursky up there. They got guys like Ray Jazz that you're going to be seeing a lot more of, I hear, in UWN. And, he's been, I think, on AEW programming. They're at dogprowrestling.com and on YouTube at Dog Pro Wrestling. Facebook as well. That's it for us. That's it. That's all. So until next time, we'll see you at the matches.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.